COSM currently following our implied path per the analysis that we performed over the weekend. Let's go ahead and find out exactly what could happen for the following days in COSM. What is up, you guys? This is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. Okay, so we're looking at COSM on the 4-hour chart right here, and this is the chart that we were looking at on Friday or Saturday, I believe. Okay, so I did mention the potential of a head and shoulders here. You know, an occasional head and shoulders here works, and sometimes it doesn't. I really don't like to call these formations out too much because they have a lesser hit rate than anything like a triangle would, if you will. So in this case, I did mention the possibility of being faked out and having the right shoulder form. Now I'm going to show you what could save us in this situation, but it would be reliant on these factors. So we have since converted, first of all, our 10-day simple moving average. We have since converted it into a form of support. Very good. Okay, so now the last candle that we printed here is very bearish, and in fact, it is. The thing is that it hasn't returned. It hasn't gained anything from which it has lost already. So it's a solid red candle. So which only makes me believe that we are going to need a solid form of validation of support somewhere in the lower areas here. So what I'm looking at potentially is particularly this. So this is the 50-day simple moving average that's moving according to price action, so it's doing this upside move. So if it continues, we're on the 4-hour chart, so we can do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe right over here, which could be late Tuesday or Wednesday. It could be the beginning of Wednesday too. At some point, this line or the 50-day simple moving average will be in accordance or in confluence with the 0.618. Stop doing that. Okay, so yeah, it could be in accordance with the 0.618, in which we could potentially find a support before a continuation to the upside. And also the fact that we are in this trend or a series of higher lows and higher high structures. So this could potentially be more of a channel, a longer term channel. And what I mean by that is that it can, this is just speculation for right now, but I can just show you what I mean real fast. So it could be something. Come on, you guys, come on. Here we go. It could be something like this. Or, actually potentially like this, something like that. So we could be building some type of channel and a continuation onto the upside. In this case, it does have resistance in some higher levels that I don't want to speak of just quite yet, because those who know, I still have a sell target of about $1.37, and I do have another sell target in which I believe to reach at about $2.19. Now it's going to take some time, and it's very, very optimistic of me, but I'm talking about runners. And first of all, I'm not trading this for life-changing money. I am trading this for just short-term gains. Okay, so these are high-risk assets. But nonetheless, the CEO is doing a great job at making his company thrive. So I do appreciate that. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. So this is now another support and resistance range that we have been looking at. And as you can see, we are testing the range within this right now. So there is the potential to where we can continue on to another move to the downside, potentially here at the at the 0.236 at about 42 cents, and then continuing up and just doing this type of movement right down here. So there is the strong potential as well, as if the psychology takes over within this formation, that we can actually make the formation realize. Let me get rid of the channel so that we can see this clearly. We can make this head and shoulders realize, but the downside target to that, it does share confluence with the 1.618 inverse fib ratio at about 20 cents, but that's not a guarantee. Like I said, there is a structure happening here in which we could use for a potential bounce. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the last chart. So this is This is the divergent charts that we, I'm sorry, the divergences for the RSI that we've been looking at for the past few days. So the divergence is usually the opposition from price action versus the RSI. The RSI is just an indicator. It's a relative strength index that gives us, it's a momentum-based indicator that gives us its bias for direction in the asset. So in this case, we noticed we had 1, 2, 3 drives, newly printed drives of regular bullish divergence, which usually happens when the RSI is making a series of higher lows when price action is making a series of higher lows. So in this case, you can see that we have a divergence downward and upward, hence the divergence charts. Okay, so this is still looking very good. Even though we faced this downside today, the RSI signal is still suggesting some upside. But if it does continue on to the downside, I mean, yeah, just take a look at this massive fall right here. So we can still see a potential slight drop here since we're in the 12-hour chart, and this will eventually make another pivot similar to this one here, and we can then confirm another bunch of drives of bullish divergence. So in this case, the divergences are considered to be phantom drives of bullish divergence. And why are they phantom? Is because you can see in the RSI right down here that in order for us to get from this low to the higher low, we are going through the signal entirely in order for us to reach this area here. So we bypassed all of this, which usually makes that a phantom drive. Okay, so that applies both to the bearish and the bullish side. So you know what, you guys, things are still looking pretty good for COSM. I am not bearish on it just quite yet. I don't think it's over whatsoever. So I think we can still keep our composure, still move accordingly, right? So aside from this, yeah, let's just go ahead and open up the last part of this video, which would be the RSI in multiple time frames to gain a bias for direction in the immediate short term. So this is a diagram that I made for the new viewers. Let me just make this large. So what you're looking at here are 4 zones, of which are located right over here. So you can tag along as I talk, right? So now let's load the immediate short-term time frame, which is going to be the 30-minute. Okay, so the 30-minute RSI is still suggesting a continuation onto the downside, and it is a pretty convincing pivot to the downside. The moving average is also suggesting that as well. What I do have to say, though, is that we are definitely within the shallow areas of the bear weakness percentile. When we're in these shallow areas, this usually, we can't give too much credit here, because there is a potential corrective move to the upside since we're really close to this area here. So think of it more like a gravitational pull right into the opposing zone. Okay, so now the bi-hourly chart, or the bi-hourly RSI, is suggesting some downside as well, but it looks like it may use the 14-day moving average represented by this pink line in the RSI as a form of support before continuing on to the downside, to the upside. My apologies. Okay, so now the 6-hour RSI is suggesting, you see how it's like, you see how we have a convincing downside? We have the pivot is slowly now not being so aggressive to the downside, and now this one is being more on the neutral side, and now you can see the daily start to push a little to the upside. So it looks like our downside is very limited. So there is the potential to where we could be fortifying what I said, potential drop to around this area here, to where it's located, where the knot 618 can be in confluence with the 50-day simple moving average, and then finding a bounce also from this trend line here. So 3 forms of support here that can potentially make this bounce and continue on to the upside. So this only reminds me of like an Elliott wave theory type of situation here. So we are looking at the first corrective move. It could do this a couple times before a continuation to the second wave. So yeah, there's still some upside to look for COSM. So I'm gonna leave it here though. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter, on Discord. I'll make sure to leave the links in the description below for you to consider joining the trading community in Discord called ARCa. But with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.